Hello, all my loyal wrestling video fan followers. The two of you. How are you doing today? Today, we are going to talk about a very, very sad topic: wrestler deaths. Now, I was reading an article, which I couldn't re-find, that said like 33% or something of WrestleMania 6 wrestlers have died. And I couldn't find it again. But I found one that said 25% of WrestleMania 7 competitors have died. Which that's actually higher now because it was made around the time of Savage's death. So, why do wrestlers die? Well, I've got the WrestleMania 7 results right here. We will look at the wrestlers who are dead. I will tell you why they died and what caused it. First match was the Rockers versus Barbarian and Haku. None of them are dead, though we all wish Shawn Michaels was, so he could burn in hell, 'cause he's a dick. Next, we have the Texas Tornado facing Dino Bravo with Jimmy Hart. Jimmy Hart's alive. He's alive. He's well. He's Jimmy Hart. He wears suits. He talks. He sings. He plays guitar. He shakes his butt and thinks he's Elvis. Wait, no, that's Honky Tonk Man. Anyways, Texas Tornado, who was Kerry Von Erich, is dead. He shot himself. And then other Von Erichs followed suit, because the Von Erichs like to shoot themselves. I should not make fun of suicide, but when half a family has done it, it's a little excessive and weird. Dino Bravo is also dead, but he was murdered. You see that? I don't know if that has anything to do with the wrestling lifestyle, being murdered. And the Texas Tornado, I don't know, because half his family killed themselves. So we're gonna like ignore those two because they're weird. Next was British Bulldog defeating the Warlord. Does anyone remember the Warlord? No? Well, I do. There's not much I can say about him, honestly. British Bulldog died of a heart attack. British Bulldog was also known for doing drugs and steroids, both of which probably damaged his heart and killed him. Next we have the Nasty Boys versus the Hart Foundation. All of them are still alive, though Brett's had a stroke and Jim Neidhart's living in a box somewhere. Though I don't know, Natalia's making good money. Maybe she bought her dad a home or something, so he's not living in the box still. Next we have Jake Roberts versus Rick Martel in that really crappy blindfold match, which should have been about half as long as it was. Both are alive. Both did a lot of drugs, but both are alive. The Undertaker with Paul Bearer versus Jimmy Snuka. Paul Bearer is dead. Paul Bearer was also really, really fat. Just like I'm really, really fat. So someday when I die, they will be like, well, he was a fat ass, so he deserved it. Next is Ultimate Warrior versus Randy Savage, who was escorted by Sensational Sherry. And if you remember right, at the end of this match, Randy Savage rehooked up with Elizabeth. Everyone involved is dead. The Ultimate Warrior died of a massive heart attack. Just dropped dead. He was known for doing drugs and steroids. Randy Savage died of a heart attack due to heart disease. and was known for doing drugs and steroids. Miss Elizabeth died of a drug overdose due to drugs. I don't know what killed Sensational Sherry, and I'm too damn lazy to look it up. But everyone in that match is dead. Savage, Warrior, Sherry, and Miss Elizabeth, who came in at the end. All dead. So you're starting to see the numbers are starting to add up now. Because so far we have one match where everyone's dead. We have Bulldog who's dead. We have Bearer who's dead. We have Warrior, Savage, Sherry, and Miss Elizabeth who are dead. Next we have some Japanese guy with another Japanese guy defeating Demolition, who's Crush and Smash. And Crush is dead, but they never found a cause of death. So, but he is dead. So dead people, again, dead people. Next we have Big Boss Man, who faced Mr. Perfect with Bobby Heenan. Bobby Heenan is still alive. Big Boss Man died of a heart attack, and Mr. Perfect died of a drug overdose. Next we have Earthquake with Jimmy Hart defeating Greg Valentine. Earthquake is the only one who's dead here. He died of bladder cancer. Could have been caused by the drugs. Could have been caused by steroids. There are a lot of could have causes with bladder cancer. Legion of Doom versus Power and Glory. Hawk from the Legion of Doom is dead. And Hercules from Power of Glory is dead. Hawk was either a heart attack or drug overdose. No, Hawk was a heart attack, and so was Hercules. Virgil with Piper defeating Ted DiBiase. Everyone's alive. Mountie with Jimmy Hart everyone's alive for the rest of the thing. Mountie with Jimmy Hart defeated Tito Santana, and they're all alive. Though I heard Tito Santana is working as a barber. I don't know if that's true, but he is working as a barber from what I've heard. Hulk Hogan versus Sergeant Slaughter with General Adnan. For those who don't remember, General Adnan was the Iron Sheik. They are all still alive somehow, though the Iron Sheik has done enough drugs to kill half of China. So, but he is alive. We are 8 minutes in. So from what we learned today, wrestlers typically die from drugs, which either kill them or cause heart disease, or steroids, which either kill them or cause heart disease. It's a sad thing, but it's good that WWF is cracking down on steroids and drugs. Though, if you remember correctly, they did this once before in the early 90s. And because they started losing the ratings war, they stopped doing it, and now they're doing it again. And that's when that was the late 90s, early 2000s when they stopped, and then people started dying again, and they reinstituted it. So I expect them to cancel it again at some point when they're losing money, and then reinstitute it again when people die again. I think drugs I think go hand in hand with wrestling, because you get that high when wrestling, just like I get that high when I do drugs. And you want to chase that high, so you do drugs. Plus, drugs are fun. Steroids go hand in hand with wrestling because you got to be buff and look good. And you don't get that way by eating Wheaties. All the buff and look good wrestlers have done steroids at some point. Cena may deny it, but Cena has done steroids. So, will it ever be cured? Maybe. But then there'll just be some other way for wrestlers to die. Like getting shot. Like Dino Bravo did. But we will have less deaths. And it's good that they're dealing with the deaths and trying to prevent them. I could have chose a newer WrestleMania, but that WrestleMania is only 23 years old, and you could see how many people died in it. So, you learned something today.